I love taking notes and I always have, but throughout my career, my notes have become more essential to do my job better, but also more intentional to do my job more meaningfully. I have wanted to do this video for so long, but I have intentionally waited this long because I wanted to make sure that I had a system that consistently provided value. In this video, I am going to cover 3 things. What app do I use for note-taking? How do I manage my note-taking? And how do I maintain my note-taking? So how do I make it sustainable? Hi, if you're new here, I am Jill, and this channel is all about trying to do life right with more of a focus on work life. So if you like the vibes, you like the content, why not hit that like button and subscribe? I'm going to start by saying this is not a video by all singing and dancing system. I'm not going to throw loads of information at you. This is about a system that is simple and sustainable, and it's all about the flow of value. I'm not writing notes just for the sake of it. My notes act as an enabler for the next thing, whether that's a meeting, an email, a report, or whether it's just some thoughts that I'm putting down on my digital notepad that I want to come back to later that's going to turn into a piece of work. From my point of view, I want to enjoy note-taking. I don't want it to become a chore, otherwise I'm not going to do it properly. And I have gone from analog to digital, digital back to analog, and I've done this several times, and I have a video actually about my struggle if you want to go check it out. But since June, I upgraded my iPad and I have been digital ever since. And I think it's the longest stint I've actually done being digital 100% of the time in my job. And I'm going to tell you why it has been successful this time. Apple Notes doesn't work for me, and I very happily use Microsoft OneNote. I'm not bitter about that at all, that I can't use Apple Notes. I've tried it in the past and it just really hasn't worked for a few reasons. So first of all, the easy one, I have a company supplied Windows laptop, so it just makes sense for me to use a Microsoft product. So that is in the form of OneNote, and I can't use Apple Notes because it is not an approved app from my IT department. But if I go in and log through the browser onto iCloud and access Apple Notes that way, it's just not very nice and I don't really like it. But despite that, I really do enjoy using OneNote, and I'm going to take you through how I use OneNote in a lot more detail now. I have split my notes into 3 categories: business, delivery, and people. So all the notes that are in my business category are things like revenue, performance, KPIs, business objectives, business improvements. In delivery, it's all about customers and it's about projects, big and small. And I live in the post-contract world in my role. I'm a customer services director for my business, so I own everything delivery. So most of my notes are in the delivery category. And then in people, that is where I record notes in all my one-to-one sessions, and then also any thoughts that I have that might turn into a piece of work later on. Like I said at the start, my notes are intentional. They act as an enabler for the next thing. So most of the time, my notes are actions with a little bit of context. And for an action to jump out at me, I draw a checkbox and I highlight it green. This checkbox is the most fundamental piece of my note-taking system that makes it all worthwhile, that provides so much value to me. And when I am doing a piece of work or I'm in a meeting, I want to be present. I don't want anything to distract me or sidetrack me. And if I didn't do this, I would definitely get distracted. So when an action pops up in my head or something, I get something from a meeting or an email or something that I've heard, someone's just raised it with me, I don't want to get bogged down with the planning and the worrying there and then. I quickly draw the checkbox and I highlight it green, and I can kind of forget about it then. And what I mean by that is I will forget about it then, so I can be present in the moment, get back to what I was focusing on, get back to the person, give them the face time again, rather than me worrying about, oh goodness, I am so busy when I'm actually going to get this planned in, and then I go down this rabbit hole and I completely lose the focus of what we're actually chatting about. When I have the space at the end of my week, I will come back and those checkboxes jump out at me and I will give them my attention there and then 100%, and I will plan in for the action. So at the end of a week, specifically on a Friday, I have a task called a weekly notes review, and I review exactly that. All of my notes that I have taken throughout that week. And now there is a long list of notes within OneNote in any of these categories: business, delivery, and people. And to make it really easy for me to find the notes that I have taken that week, I have a wee emoji, and I just use the wee finger pointing emoji. So if I see that, I know that's the note that I have taken that week. Once I have reviewed that section of notes, I will change that emoji to an archived notebook, which indicates I've done with that. The review of my notes work in parallel with my planning. So whenever I see the actions, I will plan in the time to do them. And whenever I come across these little green highlighted check boxes, if I've completed it ahead of the review, I'll just give it a little tick. If I haven't completed it, but I am now planning in the time to action it at a later date, I will then just strike through it. So then I can just forget about it. I want my note-taking to be easy to sustain, and the maintenance of my note-taking should just be really simple. I don't want it to become a chore, and I've made it so easy to do this in OneNote that every week it's just very easy to build upon the notes. It's very easy to keep on top of it, and it's very easy for the actions to be pulled out for the planning session that I have at the end of the week. The one thing I think, if I was to say something that has made this round of digital note-taking since June really stick, I would say it's the upgrade of my iPad. I previously had an iPad Air, 4th or 5th gen, I can't quite remember, but it was much heavier. Having the M4 iPad Pro with its lightness, and I didn't really purchase it for its lightness. I purchased it because I don't really have a personal laptop and I wanted to shell out a little bit on something that was pretty good. And the lightness of it, I think, has made the big difference. The M4 iPad Pro in a folio case with an Apple Pencil, and any iPad with a folio case and Apple Pencil would support anybody's digital note-taking journey. And I don't think I'm going to go back now fully away from digital. It is so effortless for me that it has become a normal way of working, and more of my colleagues are seeing the advantages and benefits from using something like this, and they're seriously considering doing the same. So I hope you've gotten value from this video. If you have, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.